Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. As you know, in our first session, we focused on building a foundation around AI in the workplace. And today, as there was a huge interest about Copilot, we will focus on Copilot, how it works, the difference between free and paid experiences, how you can eventually use it in your everyday work. So as always, feel free to ask your questions in the chat during the session, and also we'll have a dedicated Q&A session at the end. And I'm very happy to welcome our amazing speakers, Muzamil, our technical AI consultant who is specializing in AI agents, applied AI solutions, and workflow automation. And we have an amazing Rahat, who is our learning and adoption expert. They will walk us through the session, share their practical insights, and we're very happy to have you today as our speakers. So thank you so much. And Muzamil, I'm giving the stage to you.
Thank you, Annie, for that introduction. So once again, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our session, our webinar for today. And so previously, in our previous webinars, we got a lot of engagement. We got a lot of interaction for agents, Copilot, AI tools. And that is why that's the main reason why we organize the second part of our series, which focuses more into M365 Copilot. Now, let me quickly share my screen and show you what we will be covering in today's webinar. Just give me a moment. Yeah, is my screen visible, Annie?
Now, yes.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so we have heard of a lot of other AI tools that we have in the market. We have, you might have heard about ChatGPT, of course, Claude, Gemini, you have Claude Cowork, you have Claude Code, you have different series at different, different variations of different LLM models. You have Notebook LM, Gemini, Grok. There are plenty of AI models out there in the market. And every AI tool, they have their own upsides and downsides. They have their own merits and demerits. And now, when you look more into, for example, let's take an example. When you take more researching scenarios into consideration, then you have Gemini as your best friend. When you're taking more of programming or coding, then you have Claude. When you're taking more of news or summarizations or finding news on X, then you have Grok. When you're looking into more open source models, you have Chinese LLM models. But when you talk about work or work scenarios or the scenarios or use cases that you have or you deal with normally in your work environment, that is where M365 Copilot has its own strength. And that is the main agenda of today's webinar. We'll be focusing on a short introduction to the M365 Copilot. I'll be showing you a few of the features that it has and what are the different considerations or data security options that you have to keep in mind while using Copilot inside your work environment. So for work scenarios, for work use cases, always the best AI tool that you can get right now in the market is the Microsoft 365 Copilot. And that is what we will be discussing in today's webinar. So as I mentioned, first we'll be looking into a short introduction. What are the different key benefits? What are the different data security aspects that you have to consider? Where you can access Copilot? What are the different prompting rules or prompting tips and tricks that you can follow while prompting Copilot? And after that, we'll be also showing you the different features that you get in the free and the paid versions of Copilot. And after that, my colleague will give you a live demo of how Copilot works inside the work environment. And of course, as Annie mentioned, if you have any questions at any point of time, please feel free to put your questions in the chat box. We'll be more than happy to help you with that. So let's move on to the introduction of M365 Copilot. Now, from the word Copilot itself, you can understand it's a co-pilot, which means you are, as the users, you are the pilots of the system. You control your data, you own your data, you have access to every bit of your data. And this is like a personal assistant which can assist you in your work use cases, in your work tasks. It can go from simple use cases to more complex, advanced workflow automation tools. So the first you can, for basic scenarios, you can like, for example, drafting emails or creating a project report or maybe creating an image, whatever it is, from simple scenarios to advanced use cases. In every use case, Copilot and Copilot agents can play a heavy role. And just to give you a very brief definition, Copilot is an AI tool that is developed by Microsoft. And one of the key features, one of the key strengths that Copilot has when you consider other AI tools is that Copilot is built within your work environment, within your work account. So you don't have to leave your work account. You don't have to sign up anywhere else. You don't have to log into any other browser or any other application. Within your Microsoft applications, within your Microsoft account, you will be able to use these kind of AI features. And that is why we say it is integrated within the Microsoft 365 applications. And when you try to dissect Copilot, there are four different parts. There are four different components for the Copilot system. And as you can see on my screen, that is where the power of Copilot comes in. The first component, which is the large language model. So previously, Copilot worked on just one LLM provider, which was GPT-5 and the GPT-5 series, 5.2, 5.3, and 5.4 now. So that was the previously used models. And of course, those models are used right now also. But now Copilot is switching more into a multi-model interface where multiple models, multiple Gen AI providers are using the Copilot interface. Now we have Claude also integrated within Copilot. So apart from GPT series, we also have the Claude Sonnet and Claude Opus series within your Copilot. And based on your use case, based on the task that you're trying to do, you can switch between the LLM models. And the LLM model, it's the model or the engine behind Copilot which provides you the responses, which helps you query your data and give you the answers. That is the first component of Copilot. And the second component, which makes Copilot different from other AI tools, is the Microsoft Graph, which is basically the data that you have within your Microsoft applications. So this can include, let's say, for example, your emails on Outlook, your files on OneDrive, your sites on SharePoint, your meetings on Teams, your chats on Teams, any bit of data that comes within your Microsoft applications, that is your Microsoft Graph. And that is where Copilot is pulling the information from. Of course, it will also be able to pull information from web sources, but by default, on your requirement, on your behalf, Copilot will be pulling data from within your work environment, which is distinctively unique when you consider other AI tools. And the third component, as I mentioned earlier, it is the M365 suite of applications. So inside your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, inside your Outlook, inside your Teams meetings, anywhere within the Microsoft environment, within the Microsoft suite of applications, you can find your Copilot. That is one of the unique strengths of Copilot when you consider other AI tools. As of course, the web component of Copilot is also available when you want to pull information from web sources, web data from public websites. Then the fourth component of Copilot is also very feasible and important. So those are the four different components of the whole Copilot system. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you have your Copilot chat with your free license. If you have a E5 or E3 license, you get a free version of Copilot, which is basically the Copilot chat. And of course, you also have a paid or the premium version of Copilot that you get with the $30 per user per month subscription. And there are, even though it looks almost the same from outside, there are lots and lots of differences between these two different versions. You have the free version and the paid version. So basically, few of the key distinct the differences are you'll be able to use your Copilot chat if you have the free license, and you'll also be able to build agents, but with certain limitations. You'll be able to build agents within your free license, but with limitations of not accessing your work data. Your agents will not be able to access your work related data. You can give public websites or web sources for these agents. But on the paid side, of course, all these options are available. And you also get Copilot inside your M365 apps like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Teams. All these different apps also will be available in the paid version of Copilot. And of course, the models also, as I mentioned earlier, when you want to access advanced models like, of course, Claude Opus or Claude Sonnet, then again, you will be required to have the paid version of Copilot. Of course, you'll be able to switch between the models of GPT series with the free version, but the agents like researcher, analyst, some of these agents they require the access to Claude models, and that is why some of these models will only be available for the paid users of Copilot. Let me quickly show you the difference in the interface also. So let me quickly go into the free version of Copilot here. All right, so this is basically how the free version of Copilot looks like, the Copilot chat. And so if you look in the left bottom corner, you'll be able to see the labeling under your account. So if you just notice here, if you just notice my cursor here, you can see your name and the label below it. So you can see Copilot Chat Basic, which means the free version of Copilot. But if you go into the paid version, this is how the paid version of Copilot, the premium version of Copilot looks like. And if you again notice the label on the left bottom corner, you can see it is the premium licensed version. Now, the key differences are, for example, you have this work and the web mode, which allows you to switch between the modes depending upon your prompt. You also have very advanced agents like the researcher and the analyst. You also have something called as co-work. So this is one of the latest features, which is part of the Frontier program from Microsoft, which is called the co-work, which helps you to do tasks, which helps your co-pilot do tasks on your behalf. So like sending out emails, creating meeting invites, all these kind of mundane tasks that you do every day can be automated or can be partially automated with the help of the co-work agent. So all of these are available for the premium version of Copilot. All right, so let's go back into the slides and let me quickly show you a few of the benefits and value of using Copilot within your work environment. Now, let's take any work that you do, any type of use case or any type of task that you do, like for example, drafting an email or maybe analyzing an Excel file. Whatever you do, whatever task that you do within your work environment, that can be boosted or that efficiency can be increased with the help of Copilot. So the quality of your, let's say, for example, you're drafting an email or you're trying to create a project report. The quality of your report can be increased several times with the help of Copilot. You don't have to do it anymore manually. You can just take the help of Copilot, give a prompt to do that particular project report, and the quality can be increased several times. And also, of course, it also helps increase the creativity of whatever task that you do. And it also lessens the effort. It decreases the effort that you have to put in. You don't have to spend a lot of time. You don't have to and of course it can also increase the speed of you how you do it. Let's say for example, if, before when you take at least 2 to 3 days to create a project report, this task can be done with the help of Copilot in a matter of few hours. 1 or 2 hours you can spend for just validating the response. So the speed can be increased, the time and effort can be reduced, and the quality also can be increased with the help of Copilot. And that is basically the ROI, the return on investment for Copilot when you put Copilot in the hands of your employees or your users within your organization. And just a very quick intro about the data security. So let's say, for example, you're using any third-party AI tool for your work needs. Let's say, for example, you're trying to use ChatGPT or let's say the free version of Gemini. Whatever data that you put in those kind of third-party AI tools, your data, whatever you upload, your conversations, your chats, whatever you upload, your files, folders, whatever it is, your data can be used by those third-party companies to train their LLM models. This is it's a very huge risk for your organization. If your organization's data is used for training a LLM model or a training an AI system, that will give you a big security risk for your company, for your data. But that is not the case with Copilot. Copilot is built within your Microsoft tenant. So all the data, all the resources that you share, all your chats, your conversations, it all ends up in your tenant's data repositories. So you don't have to worry about any data leakage or data privacy issues. Whatever you share with Copilot, whatever data or whatever file that you upload, your chats, your conversations, your past history, Whatever you do it with the help of Copilot, it all stays within your work environment. And also, Microsoft follows two different rules to ensure this. So one of the rule is called EDP, Enterprise Data Protection, which protects your data from external threats. And another rule is called RAI, which is Responsible AI. So Microsoft is not, or any other company is not training on your data. Your data is completely safe, and your Copilot is one of the best or the most secure AI tools that you can use with your work-related data. And that is how secure your Copilot is. You don't have to worry about any data leakage or data privacy issues. And it is also built on your existing set of user permissions. So let's say, for example, if you have access to a particular folder, then in that case, your Copilot will be able to access it. If you are not permitted to see a file or folder on your company's SharePoint site, then your Copilot will not be able to access that file or folder. So you don't have to worry about any data privacy issues. And there are multiple ways once you get the Copilot license, or even if you have the free version of Copilot, there are multiple ways in which you can access your Copilot. So one of the easiest way is through your Teams. If you are not a regular user of Teams, you can also access your Copilot through your web browser or through your mobile phone as well. Mobile phone is much more convenient, more comfortable method. Just download the M365 app. So as you can see here, this will be the interface. Just download the M365 Copilot app from the Play Store or App Store. And then again, the only thing that you have to keep in mind is to log in with your work email address, your work credentials, and you will have the complete power, the complete benefits of using Copilot within your mobile device. There are multiple ways you can access it through your mobile phone, through your web browser, through Teams, through any of the Microsoft applications like Word, Excel, PowerPoint. There are multiple ways of accessing Copilot. So that is basically the introduction of Copilot, and there is also a section that we have for giving you a very quick intro into the art of prompting section. So before we move on to that section, I just want to ask you, are there any questions or doubts? Let me quickly check the chat box as well. Okay. All right. So then let's move on to the next section, which is the art of prompting. And now in this AI era, one of the key skill that every person should have or every individual should have is the skill for prompting. Now, prompting, it's a word or it's a terminology that came into popularity after this so-called AI revolution. We had all these kind of AI tools coming up, and that is when we heard more of this term prompting or prompt engineering. All these are kind of terminologies that we use every day. Maybe let's say when you're using an AI tool, one of the skill that you have to learn is how to prompt that particular AI tool. And every response that you get from an AI tool, not just Copilot, any AI tool that you prefer or you use daily, every response you get back all depends on how you prompt it, and how well you prompt it. All depends on your prompting skills. And that is one of the key skills that every individual should have. And that is why we have included a section for that specifically, which is called the art of prompting. Now, before we see how to write a prompt, let's see what exactly is a prompt. Now, prompt is nothing but the question that you ask to your Copilot, not just Copilot, any AI tool for that matter. When you ask a question, when you write a query, or when you ask your AI to do a task for you, your question is called a prompt, and the way in which you ask your question is called prompting. And there are multiple different types of prompts as well. You have your system prompts, you have your user prompts. We'll go into more depths in the later sessions. But for now, prompt is just the question that you ask to your AI tool. And there is a way in which you can structure this question so that you can get the most out of your Copilot or AI tool. That is what we'll be seeing in this slide. So as you can see, we have again dissected the prompt into four different parts or four different components. And this is basically how you have to write your prompt. you have to mention that you have to, make sure that you have all these four components inside your prompt so that your Copilot will be able to understand you better and fetch you the best results or the best responses. Now, the first component, as you can see here, it is the goal of your prompt. The goal is nothing but the action that you're trying to perform, the task that you want your Copilot to do for you. It can be different according to your requirements. It can be different. Let's say, for example, you're trying to research about a particular topic, or let's say, for example, you're trying to draft an email, generate a project report, analyze an Excel file, create an image, create a video. All these kind of tasks or actions that you want to do with Copilot, that should be the first component or first part of your prompt, which is called the goal. Now, the second, after you have your goal mentioned, you have to have a context. Context is basically the supporting details of your goal. So basically, let's say, for example, when you're trying to draft an email, to who you're drafting, what is the topic, what is your context, what in what context or what requirement do you want to follow while drafting the email. All these kind of supporting details comes under the context of your prompt. Now we have the source. The third component is the source. So where should Copilot look for to find you that information? Let's say, for example, you're trying to analyze a Excel file. Which Excel file should it analyze? Where is the Excel file located? What is the data within the Excel file? All this comes under the source of your prompt. And then we have the expectation. So how do you expect Copilot or your AI tool to respond back to you? That also you have to mention inside your prompt. That is very important because no matter how advanced the AI tool is, it cannot read your mind. Always, when you're trying to use an AI tool, when you're trying to do a prompt, always mention your expectation from that AI tool. So that is the expectation component. And I have an example here. Let's look at the example very quickly. So the first part, as you can see, which is highlighted in blue, it is the goal of my prompt, which is generate 3 to 5 points. And what is the context? Why do I need to generate 3 to 5 points? To prepare for a meeting with the IT manager regarding the next phase of the digital initiative. That is the context of my prompt. And after that, I have my source. Where should it look through to find me these points? It should look through my emails and Teams chats since June. That is my source where my Copilot has to look through. And my expectation. Thank you for using plain language so I can prepare quickly. That is my expectation with Copilot. My expectation can be different. Let's say, for example, you can expect to get the response in maybe in a table format, or you want it in a paragraph format, or you want it in a summarized document. Whatever it is, your expectation, you have to mention that inside your prompt. That will give you much more tailored responses from Copilot. So those are the four different components of a well-defined prompt. You have your goal, context, source, and expectations. All right. So any questions regarding the art of prompting section? Again, if you have any questions or if you have any doubts regarding prompting, please feel free to put your questions in the chat box. Me and my colleague will be ready to help you.
So, Muzammil, thank you so much for the great technical background. I just have a quick note. Will AI be able to read our minds in the future? Maybe.
That is a $1 million question, Ragat. I hope so.
Yeah, just thinking. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ragat. So I think we can move on to the demo. So Ragat, mic is yours.
Thank you so much, Muzammil, for the great technical background. And let's go now into implementing what Muzammil have shared into reality, because we know it's always like we know the theory, or actually technical experts are the best to know the theory, but like in implementation and reality, this is the challenging part. and it definitely takes a lot of experimenting, investigation, and seeing things happening. So let me go ahead and start sharing my screen. And as Muzammil mentioned, please feel free to share your thoughts and your concerns at any point of time. Just place them in the chat box, and towards the end of the session, we will open the mic for to unmute yourself and talk as needed. So first thing that we wanted to highlight is how to access Copilot as demonstrated by Muzammil, so that you can just see the differences with me. So basically just go to any browser and just type Copilot chat, and let's see what different experiences we have. So we will have different experiences based on our license. So basically today's session is about M365 Copilot, which is the enterprise license. But because Muzammil also showed you that we have the free version that anyone can still use using your enterprise account. So see here, if you just type Copilot chat, and Copilot is just checking with me what experience I'm looking for. So basically, if I decided to go with my work account, you can go with your work account and still you don't have the enterprise license. And you can just go with like your personal account. For example, I have my own personal account, but I have my work account at Cloud for Work. And I also have my enterprise license, which is the core topic of our session today. So definitely each experience is different than the other. The personal is just like I'm accessing with my, let's say, ragad@outlook.com. It's just my personal account, nothing connected to my work account. Let's assume I don't have the license. I don't have the like M365 Copilot license, and I want to use Copilot, the free version, but yet I want to use my work environment. What would that be? It will offer me more data security as shown by Muzammil. So definitely we can use that. And we can also have our own license, like the license, the enterprise license, the paid license. And if we decided to go with the paid license, we will get this interface. So this is the interface that we have for the paid license, which is our core topic for today. And for the following series, we will be covering Copilot into each of these apps. So we will be seeing Copilot into Teams, Copilot into Outlook, Copilot into Word, PPT, and so on and so forth. So this is the paid license, the enterprise paid license. And as we can see here, this is me, Ragad, with the premium account. And as we can see, it is the M365 Copilot because it's the paid enterprise license. Again, just also to bring what Muzammil showed into reality here, we have this enterprise data protection. So basically, when we talk about AI, it's all about data. And the first concern for many of us is data security. By this green check mark, you can definitely click onto that and read more about data security and data privacy and so on and so forth. So this is actually one distinction that besides the fact that you're working within your work environment, you have all data security and data privacy issues cleared with Microsoft. So by reading this agreement, you would know more about the data security, what data can it access, how it works with the data, and so on and so forth. Now, as mentioned by Muzammil, is that Copilot can read our data. So for Muzammil, Copilot is different than Ragad Copilot, is different than X Copilot, than Y Copilot. Why is that? Because it reads from a different environment. So if I decided to click on this plus button, we can see that it can sync through my whole data, right? So it can sync through my files that I have on my OneDrive. It can sync through my meetings, and I'm going to show that in our prompting now when practicing together. It can automatically sync through my email. So I'm talking to my assistant, this Copilot assistant, that automatically syncs and integrate through all my data. And this is like what we can say, it's also another distinction, is that it is whatever I'm waking up in the morning and I'm doing my work, now I'm incorporating AI into my daily routine in the, let's say, the optimal way ever. Why is that? Because I'm not switching platforms. I'm still using my same environment, my same platform, calling files, integrating between the different meetings, emails, and even more actually, channels on Teams, sites, or even chats that I want to extract info out of it as needed. I also want to mention that this Copilot, M365 Copilot, is also available like you can download it as an app, so you can use it on your mobile, and you can talk to your Copilot via voice. So it's not restricted that we are sitting in the office and we are like just in front of our laptops. You can definitely use it while you are like away, and just make sure same approach, sign in with your work account, make sure that you have the license. If you have it on your work account, like for example, for me, I have it on my Cloud for Work account. And whenever I sign in, whether on my mobile or here, like it's the same experience. You can talk via voice and communicate with your assistant. And as we saw, like this is what Muzammil was explaining, is that we can sync through our data smoothly and call files and integrate between them accordingly. So this is the interface. And in the free version, what will be different is that we will not be able to see our emails or our meetings. Like it cannot just like get connected with the data. This is like what we will be losing in the free Copilot chat. And see here we have our work environment. I'm telling my Copilot to stay local, and I'm just integrating or working smartly within my files. If I decided to go to the web, as also mentioned by Muzammil, is that I'm telling my Copilot, go surf the web. You can definitely specify the websites that you want to visit and just take things or like ask Copilot to prepare things to you as needed. Now, to the left-hand side, what we have here, we have like if we want to search, and this is also a feature that hopefully we will also use and introduce throughout our curriculum, create for the visuals and like creating images and videos, the agents. So here we have full list of agents, the built-in agents from Microsoft, and also the agents that you can build. Definitely there are types of agents, and there are, let's say, a booklet for what type of agent we can create and which platform we need to use. So for agents, it's like totally depending on the use case and what we want to create, and we will hit into that also throughout our series and our curriculum. And we also have here like the chats, whatever I talked to my Copilot previously, all saved, and we can save our own prompts. And what is next is that we can find Copilot into the apps, into PowerPoint, into Word, into Outlook, the daily apps that we use on our daily routine. And that's why here the idea of Copilot is to incorporate the concepts of AI that we introduced last time into our daily work. So we're not switching the way we do work. No, we are just incorporating more AI, working smartly, working with more productivity, and definitely, we need a human intervention and we need validation um, all the time we use these engines. Now, this is my prompt area, the prompts that Muzammil talked about, which is how do I want to communicate with my Copilot and how we should not assume that Copilot can read our mind. But definitely, whatever I have in mind, I can just write it down or talk to Copilot via voice or verbally. You can prompt in Arabic and you can prompt in English as needed, whatever you want to use and whatever you want to, like whatever your preference. And you can prompt in Arabic and ask Copilot for the output in English and vice versa. So prompting is definitely an art, and the simple rule for this art, and then we can just branch out of it, is that whatever we have in mind, write it down and then add more details. If we're not satisfied, go back to your prompt, add whatever is needed and whatever would make a really significant effect, and take it from there. So in reality, it's all about experimenting. It's all about the practicing, testing. You don't like, we will go again and edit and amend and take it further. So this is my prompt area. And see here, these boxes are some suggested prompts. So if we are using Copilot for the same time, just use any of these prompts and just use them, or like click on any prompt and use it as needed. Clicking on this show more, it will show us more prompts. And again, here, if we click on the prompt gallery, it is as if we are building our prompts library. So we have our own prompts, our own the culture that we use at Cloud for Work, or like in your closer team. So basically, we know that this AI can serve many functionality. In the procurement team, we have like a library of prompts. For like help, or like the desk service team, they also have like their own prompt gallery. So we can click on the prompt gallery, and here we have some suggested prompts from Microsoft, and we have our own prompts. So these prompts that we save. So it's prompts that you can save and you can share, and you can just like call at any point of time and use. So as if you're building your own prompt library, save them, and at any point of time you can clean, edit, amend as needed, and classify as needed. So this is where we can save our prompts, and I'm going to show you how you can add more prompts to this. So see here, it all shows that Ragad, I created these prompts, and this is what we can how we can keep this in a place and keep maintaining this. We always need maintenance. AI is all about experimenting, making things really happen, and bringing things from theoretical into reality. So here, if we are here, let's just try prompting together. And because we're focusing on M365 Copilot, we can easily take any meeting or any email and ask Copilot to help us analyze, or help us draft a follow-up email, or to help us summarize key action items as needed. So if I decided to do so, and let's just start with attaching the material. So you can attach whatever you want, and make sure that we are on our work environment, which is like I'm telling my Copilot, sync through my environment, build me a network that integrates my meetings, my emails, my calendars, my calendar, my meetings, and my files into one platform, which is this Copilot chat. And here we can, as you can see, you can attach work material. You can upload from your device, and you can use the agents, which comes with this paid license. So let's just click on add work content, and see here that all my categories are together. I can sync through all of them. If I'm not sure, I can tell Copilot, sync through my environment, and look for X project latest updates for the previous month. What happened for the previous month? So you're telling Copilot, sync through my files, my chats, my meetings, and get me the latest updates from each and every item of those, to combine everything together. But if we want to be more specific, I'm going to go into my meetings, and see here, we have here many meetings, and we can select a meeting that has a transcript, and hopefully this would be addressed in our common curriculum. So any meeting with a transcript, where basically, what do we mean by transcript? It is basically where we allow Copilot to attend with us, as if it is an AI a note taker. So it will take notes on our behalf, yet it's very safe and secure. You're not inviting an external entity or an external tool. You're using your own Copilot with your username and password. So as if you are attending, but you have an assistant to write notes for you. So once we have the transcript, we can attach the meeting, and we can just ask our Copilot what we want to do. So here we can sync through our meetings. As you can see, this is like all my meetings. We can definitely select any meeting where we are sure that it has a transcript. If it doesn't have, then Copilot would tell us it doesn't have a transcript. If it is recorded, that's also fine. So I'm going to select my meeting just to show you how will Copilot sync through your environment. And then based on that meeting, I don't want to just go back to it and like write a follow-up email. I just want to understand what happened, and I want to get the key action items in bullets, or listed in bullets. So this is what we will be doing. So now we are prompting in this box area. And as mentioned by Muzammil, there are some components to include. So we attached the meeting, that is a must. But again, how to write? totally up to you. So I can tell Copilot in Arabic اذكر أهم النقاط أو أهم الخطوات التالية من الاجتماع المرفق if this is what I want to do in Arabic. Or if I can tell Copilot, like for example, list the key action items in bullets as, or like in tables, and show the ownership, responsibility, deadlines if mentioned. So once you have the transcript, Copilot can just process your meetings and get you what you want in a couple of minutes. This is very useful, especially when we have tight schedules, back-to-back meetings, many projects we are in. So sometimes our brains might not be as capturing every single detail as these machines, because it's like trained to capture all of the details that we need. So making this a reality is that we would attach the meeting and we will tell Copilot as if we're just expressing what we have in mind clearly. I will tell Copilot, help me. I always like to tell Copilot as if I'm talking to my assistant. Help me what? Help me list the key action items in bullets. So see here, I was very clear to my Copilot. The goal is to list the key action items, what we want to do next. And I'm expecting bullets. So this is a bullet, and I can further explain what bullets I'm expecting. Am I expecting details? Am I expecting just short and brief bullets, or just leave it to Copilot? Anything we don't decide, then Copilot will start assuming. And this is what Muzammil mentioned. So if we didn't write it, then how would Copilot understand it? Then Copilot will start making assumptions. So you can be as detailed and as brief as you want, and this will definitely affect the outcome. If the outcome is not good for you, you can definitely tell Copilot to amend and to go back and to start from scratch again. So I wanted the key action items in bullets. I can just tell Copilot, please be brief, add more details, please be brief, and do not mention details. This is something that we want to just without details. And this is my expectations, and this is my goal. I'm only focusing on the key action items and what is to be done. And I attach the source. If I did not attach the source, then Copilot would tell me, I would be able to help you, but attach me the meeting. So we can tell Copilot just like attach, like tell Copilot how to attach, or like attach the meeting directly. If we missed it for a reason or another, we can definitely like add this throughout our conversation. But see, the elements are there. My goal, my expectations, my source, and like even if I want a context, why I can tell Copilot to use it to draft a follow-up email. So see here, the context is basically to give more direction. As if you're talking to your assistant, you would be polite and you would tell him, like, please help me list the action items. You give the instructions as if you're talking to a person, and you just described all the details needed. You want to add more details, definitely more than welcome. You want to attach more resources, more meetings, more files, definitely this is doable. So now you can also just like attach a folder and ask Copilot to like just read the info or read the files or read its contents accordingly. So this is my first entry, which is the prompt. So now we practiced prompting. The other entry is basically changing the model. So as we can see here, you can definitely change the model. So in our previous session, we talked about the different models that Copilot is trying to, or like that are available in the market in general. And we see this like in the era of AI, like many models, like models are dying and models are coming up, and it's like it's really dynamic and it's like changing. So here, the second entry that Copilot is allowing you to do is that you might tell me, Rad, I have my own preference to use GPT models, which are basically on ChatGPT or etc. You can definitely use these models, or you can stick to these models like the Copilot model, or let's say which is a combo of like whatever is available. So see here, we have GPT models. Maybe also in the future we'll see more models related to Claude or etc. So what Copilot is trying to offer you the option of selecting the model of preference. Because we know now, like the idea of AI is that it is based on data training. So each of these models, it has enhancements over the previous model in terms of the accuracy, the way the data was trained, and what output we would get or we would gain. So all of that is part of like what you can select, and it's now no longer a black box. Like previously, we would write the prompt and get an output. What happened at the back end? We have no transparency. Now you can select the model. You can see some reasoning. What happened? How did Copilot work that? What sources it used? So this will definitely help you validate easier and get the most accurate result out of all the options. So the more transparency we have, the better the outcome and the more control we will have as a humans on our AI. And we are definitely on the right track because we created these machines and these engines and these training models. So we can definitely direct them the way we want. The auto model, you can just keep it on auto if we're not sure what to choose. And here Copilot will just decide on what to choose. Quick response, you're telling Copilot, just give me a quick response. I'm fine with the accuracy of the output. I can validate myself. Think deeper, you are giving a priority for higher accuracy and compromising time. Take your time, think deeper, think through my meeting multiple times and get me accurate results. So see, each model will have a different behavior. The behavior might affect the output, sometimes with minor differences and sometimes with major and significant differences, depending on what? Depending on the prompt, depending on the use case. But generally, it's all about testing and experimenting. And in many times, it might be exactly the same output because we know in AI, it's all about investigating, experimenting, and practicing. Let us keep it on auto. This is our second entry. And then we will hit on generate once we make sure that everything is ready. Even if we clicked on generate, we're not sure or like we didn't like the output, we can go and, as we said, debug again, because now we have more reasoning layers. We're seeing what is happening at the back end, which will allow us to get accurate results and validate easier and smarter. So see here, this is my meeting. And as you can see here, the meeting has the source. So Copilot always will show you the source. And here are the actions, the action items as exactly mentioned from the transcript. And because I told Copilot, I don't want the details. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4 in bullets, or like I can tell Copilot in a list or in a numbered list. Definitely Copilot can switch that accordingly. So here, one thing, what should be done also and by which entity. So for example, Cloud for Work to do this, Cloud for Work to do that, and so on and so forth. And all of that are 100% accurate because I know the meeting and I know the transcript, and definitely we need to validate. But here, like the accuracy, I assure you, it's very high because the source is limited. It's just this meeting and the transcript that we have, and we used Copilot for, and this is what we get. Just if you want to click on the meeting and see it, here we would just see the meeting and we can see just the transcript. So see here, this is my transcript and we can see the transcript like simply and like just think through it and make sure that it makes sense as needed. But I assure you here we got a very high accuracy because of the clear prompt and the format as well. And again, what we can do later is that, see here, Copilot expected that, do you want me to write a follow-up email? If I like what has been done, I can definitely build on that. And see here, we have many options. If I want to copy the response and just like take it and insert it myself, I can schedule the prompt so that it will automatically run every one, like every day or every week and so on and so forth. And also we can do, or we can check these options here. If we hover over the prompt, we can edit and copy and schedule and save. Save will automatically take it to the prompt gallery. So let me show you here. Like I clicked on save and this box just popped up. So the title would be just like a meeting summary, for example, and just the prompt, and just like we can save it. So we will get just a message that would say view Copilot in the prompt gallery, and see here it is added to my prompt gallery, and this is the meeting summary that I have just typed. At any point of time, we can manage this. It's important to keep maintenance of this so that you keep what you want and you delete whatever is outdated. We know it's like, let's say, a dynamic journey with AI. So you keep what you want and you just delete whatever is not useful for you. So basically, this is the prompting, practicing, and we're still within Copilot chat. Now we brought into reality how is Copilot integrated with all our data, how Copilot can read my environment and my cloud environment, and how we can just attach and use these resources in the most optimal way to save us time and energy. We can definitely now tell Copilot, just like here, help me select, or like, please help me draft a follow-up email to like the entity or etc. And be professional and so on and so forth. You can definitely add more details, but just if we want to select the pop-up prompts, we can definitely use them as needed. Let's just use this email and see how would Copilot respond. Another thing to show here is that we can control some settings of Copilot, how I want my Copilot to respond. If I want Copilot to be brief, if I want Copilot to always be straightforward, if I want my Copilot to start with a certain a sentence and to end with a certain sentence. When drafting emails, you can definitely draft all of these instructions and write them to Copilot as needed. Let us just validate that, and definitely I'm going to open the floor for questions, but let's just check that. See here, it's a subject who is to receive. How did Copilot get the recipients? From the meeting itself. And this is how we show that Copilot can just get me the details, or like it can sync into my data as needed. And see here, it started with salam and it ended with best regards, and it exactly took like the action items, or like what we have get from the previous prompt. So we can definitely get what we want. Let me show you here how we can control the settings, how we can tell Copilot how to respond, how to write emails, and so on and so forth. If we click here on settings, we can control how I want my Copilot to respond. And here in personalization. Why is that important? Because when AI was first in the market, everyone says that we look the same. AI is using the same language, although we are different. Like I will respond in a way that is different than Muzammil. Maybe I have a professional tone. Maybe like my way in responding is different. So we need to incorporate the human effect or the human impact. How to do so in personalization, custom instructions, edit instructions. And see here, I told my Copilot, when drafting an email, always start with salam, and this is what Copilot did, and end with best regards, and this is what Copilot did. We can also tell Copilot, always be brief, always use Arabic language, always be professional, do not use anything that is, always be straightforward. Whatever we want to add here for Copilot, you can definitely add it. Here, I added like when drafting emails, when attaching files, always list this. So whatever you want a Copilot to incorporate, you can use it. And these are examples, especially when writing emails. If we decided just to remove this, we can delete it and then hit on save instructions, and you can save your instructions as needed. Let me just hit on cancel. And here Copilot can take your actions accordingly. So this is just an example, and as I showed you, it can sync it through your files. I can just attach a file and ask my Copilot to help me summarize, or to help me get like where are we on a certain project, the track changes, and so on and so forth. So literally, this platform will allow you to work within all your data, call for like sync your meetings, emails, and process your data and create reports. Like you can still here ask Copilot to create reports, analyze files, and build charts also for you, besides what we have to the left that we will hit on during our series. Let me open the floor for questions or comments, and let's see what we have.
Thank you so
Anything?
much, Rahat. Yeah, we
Yes,
have a question. If it's GPT, so is learning data is going back to OpenAI or not?
yeah, very good point. Muzamil, I would give you the mic to answer this because Muzamil and I we were already discussing this issue the day before. Yes, Muzamil, over
Yeah.
to you.
So I have answered the question in the chat.
Mhm.
Nevertheless, so basically, when you're using GPT inside the M365 Copilot, every data that you upload, every conversation, every chat, it is processed within Azure Cloud Services. So within the Azure Cloud Services, just like let's say, for example, your OneDrive files are being stored or your emails on Outlook are being stored inside the Azure Cloud Services, the data processing is done, and the data also resides within your tenant ID. So it's not going to OpenAI. OpenAI does not have the access.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think you answered the other one, which is from a specific sender. Definitely, I can tell like my Outlook or my environment to help me serve the emails I received from Muzammil or from X project or about. But we need to tailor our prompt. Actually, let me show you a quick example here. So definitely, what Muzammil showed is exactly the right answer. But like for example, I can tell my Copilot retrieve, exactly as you mentioned, retrieve the emails received from, we can tell Copilot, you can here mention like a certain name, like we can tell Copilot received from Muzammil during. So see here, the duration is important. We cannot just tell Copilot to sync throughout our own inbox because based on that, Copilot is trained to retrieve the latest, maybe the last 2 weeks. But if I want to just the emails received from Muzammil during, like for example, last week or the last 2 weeks in a table. So see here, this is a prompt. I'm going to stick into my auto model and I want to Copilot. I'm still in my work environment to retrieve the emails received from Muzammil. And during the last week, this is crucial because I'm focusing on the last 2 weeks. So Copilot would give me the results based on the last 2 weeks, and I want to see that in a table. How you want to see the table? You can leave it to Copilot to decide, or you describe the table, the topic and the summary. Definitely, we can do that. So topic and summary. And here Copilot would show them to you. So definitely you can filter either by name or by topic. So you can tell Copilot retrieve the emails received on X project because sometimes we have multi collaborators. So on X project during the last month or the last 2 weeks is needed and get results. So definitely you can do that. Let's just see here, Copilot is giving me the layers. So see here, the reasoning is completed in the 3 steps and it's still working. So let's read the reasoning. Reasoning is what happened at the back end. So how is that useful? It will help you check and validate is what Copilot did. Does that make sense? Let's see. So here it's telling me searching for specific email. This is the person. This is right. Then extracting these results from relevant and summarizing. And as you can see here, the last 2 weeks. So it's exactly the filtering from Muzammil the last 2 weeks, opening the emails and then summarizing the results. And see here, this is what we have. This is the topic availability. Here we have a couple of emails on the same topic and the request for consolidated training conducted details. I can export that in Word or etc. as needed or further process this also as needed. Anything else we missed?
We have a
Yeah.
question. Can we know the Copilot data processing location?
Yes,
Data.
Annie, I'm just answering the question in the chat right now.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So Muzammil, all good? You got it? Okay.
Yes, I'm getting it, man.
All right. So definitely we can know and yeah. Anything else? Anything? Feel free to any last minute questions. Anything to add, Muzammil and Annie?
All good, Rajat.
Amazing. Thank you so much for a great session. And thank you
Thank you.
everyone for joining us. We hope that this session was helpful for you to understand better how Copilot works. As we've mentioned, this session was a part of a big Copilot Academy that we're hosting now, and the next session, as Rahat mentioned, will be basically about Copilot in Outlook and Teams, so you can understand how you can use it for everyday workflow, like for writing, meetings, communication, and again, we'll make sure to show you the practical, repeatable use cases that you can implement from day one. So we would love to see you there. You can already start registering. We'll send you basically the recording after the session, with also the next session registration link. And yeah, in the meantime, feel free to follow us on Cloud for Work, LinkedIn, because we are constantly updating there. We are hosting new sessions, updating about new sessions there, and also having a lot of valuable content. So once again, thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Muzamil Rad, for an amazing session, and have a great day.
Thank you,
Thank
Annie.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you, everyone.
everyone, and see you
Thank
later.
you. Bye-bye.